Chapter 1 is Land and Sea Formation and Distribution. Earth is the home of mankind. Human beings can live on the earth because of life sustaining elements like land, water and air. The earth's surface is the interactive zone of various components that constitutes the environment of a place. The solid portion of the earth, that is land, on which human beings live is called as lithosphere. The water, which mostly includes oceans and seas, covers a very large area on the earth's surface, which is called as hydrosphere. The surface of the earth is mostly covered by land and water. Therefore, the earth's surface can be divided into two main divisions. The extensive land surface or landmass is known as continents, and the vast expanse of water bodies are called as oceans. The continents and the oceans are called as the landforms of first order. The distribution of land and water on the earth's surface shows that it is markedly different. Due to the vast expanse of oceans, the southern hemisphere is called as water hemisphere, whereas the northern hemisphere may be termed as land hemisphere. There is an asymmetry of land and water distribution in the northern and southern hemisphere. The land and water hemisphere of the earth are the hemispheres of earth that contains the largest total areas of the land and oceans respectively. The center of the land hemisphere is determined somewhere near France, and the center of water hemisphere is in Bounty Islands near New Zealand in the Pacific Ocean. More than 2/3 of the continental regions are in the northern hemisphere, rimming the Arctic Ocean. South America and Africa project into the southern hemisphere as southward pointing triangles, forming extensive peninsular regions separating the Atlantic, Pacific and Indian Oceans. There is an alternate arrangement of continents and oceans, which is the special characteristics of our planet Earth. The land and oceans on the Earth's surface is unevenly distributed on the Earth's surface. In the northern hemisphere, the ratio of land to ocean is 1:1:5 in the northern hemisphere, and there is more or less alternate distribution of land and water. The ratio of land to ocean in the southern hemisphere is 1:4. That is, there is the dominance of oceans in the southern hemisphere. Now, this figure shows the hypsometric curve. The hypsographic curve portrays how the earth is distributed in terms of elevation on the land and depth of oceans with reference to the sea level. The elevation zone refers to the relief on the land. On the continents, these elevation zones are called as relief features, such as mountains, plateaus, hills and plains. In the oceans, the different depth zones are termed as continental shelf, the continental slope, abyssal plain, trenches and ocean deep. The hypsographic curve shows that 71% of the Earth's surface is below sea level and 29% of the Earth's surface above the sea level. The continental areas above the sea level comprises about 29% of the Earth's surface. The average elevation of continents is 840 meters and the average depth of ocean is 3795 meters. The highest point on the land is Mount Everest with an elevation of 8848 meters, and the lowest point on the land is the shores of Dead Sea, which is at 825 meters below the sea level. The deepest point in the ocean lies in Marianas Trench in the northern Pacific Ocean, which is located at a depth of 11034 meters at a point called as Challenger's Deep. It is the deepest point on the Earth's surface. Many people use the term ocean and sea interchangeably whenever they speak about the ocean, but there is a difference between these two terms. When seeing from the geographical perspective, sea is smaller than the ocean, and sea is located where the land and ocean meet. Typically, some seas are partially enclosed by the land. Seas are found mostly on the margins of the ocean, whereas some seas are enclosed. Over 90% of the water on the Earth's surface is contained in the ocean. The main mass of the hydrosphere lies in the world's ocean. The Earth is often called as water planet because 71% of its surface is covered by oceans. Seen from the space, our planet Earth appears to be characterized by blue color because of the ocean that dominates the Earth's surface. Planet Earth is also called as blue planet. The oceans or the seas are the vast body of saline water that occupies depressions of the Earth's surface. The total body of water that is of the Earth, that is oceans and seas, is known as hydrosphere. Oceans are the major part of hydrosphere. The boundaries of each ocean are largely defined by the continents that borders them. Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean. The shape of the Pacific Ocean is more or less circular. It covers 1/3 of the Earth's surface. Marianas Trench is the deepest trench which is located in the North Pacific Ocean. Pacific Ocean is surrounded by Asia, Australia, North and South America. The Pacific Ocean is the deepest ocean on the Earth's surface. Pacific Ocean has the largest number of islands. These islands are mostly volcanic in origin. Atlantic Ocean is the second largest ocean. Atlantic Ocean is in the form of S shape. It is bounded on the North and South America on the western side and Europe and Africa on the eastern side. The coastline of Atlantic Ocean is highly indented, that is irregular or indented. The irregular or indented coastline is very suitable for the location of harbors and ports. From the international trade point of view, it is the busiest ocean. That is, most of the international trade routes passes through the Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean is characterized by number of shallow seas like the Caribbean Sea, the Baltic Sea and the Gulf of Mexico, etc. The Arctic Ocean is located 66 degrees latitude, that is Arctic Circle, and encircles the North Pole. Arctic Ocean is the shallowest ocean. Arctic Ocean is mostly landlocked ocean located north of Arctic Circle. Arctic Ocean is connected to the Atlantic Ocean by Greenland Sea and the Pacific Ocean via Bering Strait. It is bounded in the north by the coast of Asia, Europe and North America. Arctic Ocean is the smallest in the world among the world's 5 oceans. The following table provides the information about the major seas on the Earth. Table 1 provides the information of the ocean. The Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean on the Earth's surface. It covers 46% of the world ocean area. The average depth of the Pacific Ocean is 4188 meters. The highest depth 11,033 meters and the deepest trench is the Marianas Trench. The Atlantic Ocean covers 23% of the ocean area of the world. The average depth of Atlantic Ocean is 3926 meters and the highest depth is 9200 meters. Puerto Rico Trench is the deepest place in the Atlantic Ocean. The Indian Ocean covers 21% of the world ocean area. The average depth is 3897 meters and the highest depth is 8047 meters. And the deepest place in the Indian Ocean is Java Trench. Antarctic Ocean covers only 6% of the total world ocean area. The average depth is 4000 meters and the highest depth is 7235 meters. And the deepest place in this ocean is South Sandwich Islands. The Arctic Ocean covers 4% of the total ocean area and it is the smallest of all the oceans. The average depth is 1205 meters and the highest depth in this ocean is 5450 meters. If you take the whole world ocean area, the average depth is 3795 meters and the highest depth is 1175 meters. Continents are the extensive land masses on the Earth's surface. All the lands in the form of continents of the Earth together make up about 1/3 of the total surface of the planet. The land masses of the Earth are unequally distributed. Nearly 2/3 of the land mass is located in the northern hemisphere. The land surface on the Earth is divided into 7 continents. These continents are Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Australia and Antarctica. A cursory look at the world map reveals that the greater part of the landmass lies in the northern hemisphere. Asia is the largest continent and it covers about 1/3 of the total land surface of the Earth. Asia completely lies in the northern and eastern hemisphere. Tropic of Cancer passes through the southern portion of Asia. Europe and Asia continues to extend as unified landmass separated by the Ural Mountains in the west. The combined landmass of Asia and Europe is called as Eurasia. Many geographers and earth scientists are of the view that there are 6 continents only. Europe and Asia being continuous landmass is termed as Eurasia. Africa is next to Asia in terms of area. That is, Africa is the second largest continent after Asia and Africa. It is the only continent through which equator, Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn passes. World's largest hot deserts like Sahara and world's longest river is located in the African continent. North America is the 3rd largest of the world, which is located in the western hemisphere. On the west, it is bounded by Pacific Ocean and in the east by the Atlantic Ocean. It is connected to South America by a very narrow portion which is called as Isthmus of Panama. Rocky Mountains are the continuous chain of fold mountains which are located along the western margins of North America. South America is the 4th largest continent. Greater part of South America lies in the southern hemisphere. The equator passes through the northern part of the continent. Tropic of Capricorn passes through the southern portion of South America. The Andes, the world's longest mountain range, runs through its length from North to South America along the western margins of South America. Amazon, the world's largest river, traverses through the continent of South America. Like North America, South America is also bounded by Pacific Ocean in the west and Atlantic Ocean in the east. Antarctica is in the form of huge landmass which is located completely in the southern hemisphere in the South Polar region. South Pole lies almost in the center of Antarctica. Antarctica being located in the polar region, it is completely covered by ice sheet. Due to extreme cold climate, Antarctica continent do not support permanent settlements. For geological and other research activities in India, India has established research station named as Maitri and Dakshin Gangotri in Antarctica. Europe lies to the west of Asian continent. The Arctic Circle passes through it. It is bounded by water bodies on three sides. Australia is the smallest continent. It lies entirely in the southern hemisphere. Australia is also called as island continent because it is surrounded on all sides by the oceans and the seas. The characteristic features of the distributional pattern of the continents and oceans are as follows. More than 75% of the total land area on the globe is situated to the north of equator, that is in the northern hemisphere. Continents are arranged roughly triangular in shape. Most of the continents have their bases of triangles in the northern hemisphere. Apexes are pointed towards the south. It is not the case with the continents in southern hemisphere, such as Australia and Antarctica. Eurasia assumes the form of a triangle, the base of which is along the Arctic Sea, while its apex is near East Indies. The base of African continental triangle is towards the north, while the apex is in the Cape of Good Hope. Roughly, the oceans are also triangular in shape. The bases of the oceans are in the south and the apexes in the north. The base of the Atlantic Ocean extends between Cape of Horn and Cape of Good Hope, while its apex is located in the east of Greenland. The base of the Indian Ocean is in the south, but the apexes are located in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. The apex of Pacific Ocean is near Aleutian Islands, while its base lies in the south. The North Pole is surrounded by the oceanic water, while the South Pole is surrounded by the land area, that is the Antarctic continent. There is an antipodal arrangement of continents and oceans. More than 95% of the total land area is situated diametrically opposite to water bodies, with very few exceptions. The validity and the authenticity of any theory or hypothesis dealing with the origin and evolution of the continents and the oceans would be determined in the light of the aforesaid characteristics of the distributional pattern of the continents and oceans. Keeping the above facts in mind, Lowathian Green postulated his tetrahedral hypothesis to explain the origin and distributional pattern of continents and oceans. Lowathian Green visualized a tetrahedral arrangement in the distribution of continents and oceans in such a way that the earth has linked to a tetrahedron having 4 flat surfaces extending on one hand. The upper flat surface represents the Arctic Ocean, while the remaining 3 faces represents the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean. The 3 vertical edges represents the North and South America, Europe, Africa and Asia, while the lower points represented by Antarctica. There is the presence of water or sea around the North Pole, that is Arctic Sea, and the location of the South Pole in the land, that is in the Antarctic continent. The planet Earth initially was a barren, rocky and hot object with a thin atmosphere of hydrogen and helium. This far from the present day picture of the Earth. There must have been some events or processes which may have caused the change from rocky, barren, hot Earth to a planet with ample amount of water, that is oceans and the seas. The Earth was mostly in a volatile stage during the primordial stage, that is the primary stage. Due to gradual increase in the density, the temperature inside has increased. As a result, the material inside started getting separated depending on their densities. This allowed heavier materials like iron to sink towards the center of the Earth and the lighter ones to move upwards the surface. With passage of time, it cooled further and solidified and condensed into smaller size. Later led to the development of outer surface in the form of the crust, that is the topmost layer of the Earth. During the formation of the Moon, due to the giant impact, the Earth was further heated up. It is through the process of differentiation that the Earth forming material got separated into different layers like crust, mantle and the core. A detailed account of which will be given in the topic on interior of the Earth. The present composition of Earth's atmosphere is mainly made up of nitrogen and oxygen. The evolution of the atmosphere involves 3 stages. The first stage is characterized by the loss of primordial atmosphere. During this stage, the hot interior of the Earth contributed to the evolution of the atmosphere. In the third stage or the final stage of the evolution of the atmosphere, the composition of the atmosphere was modified by the living organisms through the process of photosynthesis. The early or the primordial atmosphere of the Earth with hydrogen and helium supposed to have been stripped off as a result of solar winds. With this, the evolution of present day Earth was initiated. During the cooling of the Earth, gases and water vapor were released from the interior and solid Earth. This is the beginning of the evolution of the present day atmosphere. The early atmosphere largely contained water vapor, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia and very little of free oxygen. The process through which gases were outpoured from the interior of the Earth is called as degassing. Continuous volcanic eruptions contributed water vapor and gases to the atmosphere. As the Earth cooled, the water vapor released started getting condensed. The carbon dioxide in the atmosphere got dissolved in the rainwater and the temperature further decreased, causing more condensation and more rains. The rainwater falling onto the Earth's surface got collected in the depressions to give rise to the oceans. The Earth's oceans were formed within 500 million years from the formation of the earth. Based on this observation, it can be concluded that the oceans are as old as 4,000 million years. Sometimes around 3,800 million years ago, life began to evolve around 2,500 to 3,000 million years before the present. The process of photosynthesis got evolved. Life was confined to the oceans for a long time. Oceans began to have contribution of oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. Eventually, oceans were saturated with oxygen, and 2,000 million years ago, oxygen began to dominate the atmosphere. In this chapter on land and sea, we have come across the distribution of the continents. In the distribution of continents, we have seen how the present continents are distributed, what are the characteristics of their continents. And what we have seen is that the arrangement of the continents of present day are something which are having a shape of triangles. Both oceans as well as the continents have a triangular shape, and this has been confirmed in one of the theories which is called as the tetrahedral theory. One of the important characteristic of the distribution of the continents is that most of the continents, they were distributed in the northern hemisphere. But if you take the distribution of oceans, the oceans are predominantly seen or distributed in the southern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere is called as the land hemisphere because of the predominance of the land, whereas the southern hemisphere is called as the ocean hemisphere because of the predominance of the seas and the ocean.